Alright guys, welcome back to my new series, episode number 2. And today we have phones thanks to modern day slavery. Is this true? Is this false? We're about to find out. So I got a bunch of articles ready for you guys. I got a bunch of facts. I got all kinds of things ready. I'm excited. You excited? We all excited? So these are things really quickly that I'm going to go through of the topics we're going to cover today. So some critical components in super alloys for modern jet engines and the batteries that power our phones and electric cars. Where does the world's cobalt come from? Fact: there are more people in slavery today than any other time in history. Which country has the most slaves per capita? UN's new estimates show over 50 million people live in slave conditions. Damn. Alright guys, this is our first article. This is from The Conversation. From cobalt to tungsten, how electric cars and smartphones are sparking a new kind of gold rush. Cobalt has been used for centuries to create stunning blue, glass, and ceramic glazes. Today it is a critical component in super alloys for modern jet engines and the batteries that power our phones and electric cars. Demand for these vehicles has increased rapidly in the last few years, with worldwide registration more than tripling from 200,000 in 2013 to 750,000 in 2016. Smartphone sales have also risen to more than 1.5 billion in 2017, although the first ever dip at the end of year perhaps indicates that some markets are now saturated. Alongside demand from traditional industries, this helped drive a cobalt price from 15 euros a kilogram to nearly 70 euros a kilogram. And I'll probably put the differences here per euro or something like this so you guys can have a dollar perspective. For 70 euros a kilogram in the last 3 years, Africa has historically been the largest source of cobalt minerals, but rising demand and concerns about supply security mean new mines are opening in other regions, such as the US. But in an illustration of the market's volatility, increased production has caused prices to crash by 30% in recent months. Wow. Now, this is our second article. Kitco, global cobalt mine production breaks record in 2022 as new project emerge report. Kitco, global mine production has increased 15% year over year, 190,000 tons in 2022. The Democratic Republic of Congo was the world's largest producer in 2022, responsible for 68% of the global mined cobalt supplies. According to preliminary estimates from the U.S. Geological Survey (USGS), global cobalt mine production in 2022 was record high at about 190,000 tons, which is 15% increase in 2021 with 165 tons. So it's going up. It's going up rapidly. USGS said the increase in global mine output in 2022 was mainly due to the expansion of production in the Democratic Republic of Congo and in Indonesia, where new mining and processing projects were starting production. But look at the last 3 years, how it keeps going up. So it looks like COVID dropped it a little bit, and then it just starts skyrocketing. So in 2023, I'm assuming it looks like it's gonna go even higher than that. Now, this is our third article. Breakdang.medium. Are there really more slaves now than any time in history? My estimate of total number of slaves in the world, while rough estimates suggest that today the largest number of people in human history live in slavery. At the same time, the estimated total of 27 million in slavery is just 0.004% of the world population, possibly the lowest proportion of the world population in slavery in human history. The word slavery conjures up images of shackles and transatlantic ships, depictions that seem relegated firmly to the past. But more people are enslaved today than any other time in history. Experts have calculated that roughly 13 million people were captured and sold as slaves between the 15th and the 19th century. Damn. Centuries. Today, an estimated 40.3 million people, more than 3 times the figure during the transatlantic slave trade are living in some form of modern slavery, according to the latest figures published by the UN's International Labor Organization (ILO) and the Walk Free Foundation. Damn, that's a lot of people, man. 50 million. I mean, like, in comparison to like what we imagine slavery, when we think of like I'm pretty sure everyone does this when they think of like the 1700s, 1600s, even a little bit of the 1800s or 1800s. We imagine like millions and millions of slaves everywhere, especially like in Europe and Africa and Asia and all those places. But it's because the population wasn't as high as today. The population has been going up in the last hundreds of years. So, like they said earlier, in proportion to the world population, it's a lot lower. But there's so I guess that's where you could see, that's one argument right there. In proportion to the world population, yes, it's not more slaves, but the number of slaves is way higher. So like 3 times. I'm not sure what the number of world population estimates were back in the day. That would be a pretty cool number. If I find it, I'll probably have it on the screen. If I don't, sorry, man. But that would be pretty cool to know. So next article, we have The Guardian. 1 in 200 people is a slave. Why? So you'll see a graph here. More than 40 million people are working in slave-like conditions. Number of victims is per 1,000 capita. And you'll see North Korea is ranked first. Is 104, so that's like 10% right there. And Eritrea 93, Burundi 40, Central Africa Republic 22, Afghanistan 22, Mauritania 21, South Sudan 20, Pakistan 16.8, Cambodia 16.8, and Iran 16.2. It looks like the next ones after that were probably pretty close. How many slaves are there today, and who are they? Women and girls comprise of 71% of all modern slavery victims. Children make up 25% that account for 10 million of the slaves in worldwide. Damn. That's just, it's not funny. It's like really sad. I'm sorry I'm bumming you guys out, but this is information that we need to know. This is like need to know information is what I'm trying to say. The fact that none of us, including myself, that I do a bunch of research, I watch a lot of informative YouTube videos. I barely watch anything entertainment wise. I barely watch any sports, stuff like that, because I am a nerd when it comes to information and stats and info and facts. I don't know. That's what I do, and I didn't even know about this. Like, this is pretty crazy. Like, I've heard some podcasts talk about this, but I didn't know it was this far. Now, our last but not least, the most official, the most brand worthy, the most, biggest fact-based website, the United Nations. These people don't mess around. They have 50 million people in modern slavery, the new UN report. The latest global estimates of modern slavery published by the International Labor Organization, International Organization for Migration, and International Human Rights Group, Walk Free, revealed that last year, some 50 million people were living in modern slavery, 28 million in forced labor, and 22 million in forced marriages. These forced marriages, they exist in the U.S. as well. So if you think that we don't have some crazy stuff like we see in like third world countries and like fourth world countries, if that even exists. If you think that we are absent from that we're too big, we're too good, we're too rich, we're too, powerful and all that stuff, we're too woke, we're too woke for all that. That's not true. There is forced marriages in the United States. There is no, in some states, there is no age of consent for marriages. So that's pretty crazy. I think the parents are the ones that dictate who they get married to and stuff like that, and they can force their child to marry somebody. Back to the article. Last year, an estimated 22 million people were living in forced marriages, representing a 6.6 million increase over 2016 global estimates. Damn, it's going up severely. The true incidence of forced marriages, particularly involving children of 16 and younger, is likely far greater than estimates captured, since since they are based on a narrow definition that excludes some children marriages. They are considered forced because a minor cannot legally consent to marry. The report shows that 85% are driven by family pressures. Damn. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, the parents dictate who the kid marries regardless of their age. And that exists in the United States as well. I saw a whole video on that, the little kids getting married to adults. It's so creepy. So creepy. The fact that there's no like coverage on this, there's no news articles, it's not how it's not big. It's mind-boggling to me. And the fact that it's legal is another thing. Because once they're married, who knows what they're doing behind closed doors? You know what I mean? Like, their daughter or their son is marrying an adult. Behind closed doors, we don't know what they're doing. All right. Based on regional population size, 65% of forced marriages are found in Asia and the Pacific. Arab states have the highest prevalence, with 4.8 out of every 1,000 people in the region is forced marriage. Based on regional population size, 65% of forced marriages are found in Asia and the Pacific. Arab states have the highest prevalence, with 4.8 out of every 1,000 people in the region is in a forced marriage. So what do these articles mean? What picture am I painting here? You know, name the damn person. Picasso, Raphael, you know, all these, you know, famous artists that I do not know. I wish I knew some more about them. Maybe I'll go to, you know, make a video about art one day. Who knows? But so what am I trying to paint a picture of? Like, what am I saying? You know, why am I reading all these articles to you guys? I'm reading these so I can shine a light to the forced labor that we're paying for, that money is going for. When you have, this is why I always try, even some equipment here obviously is made from probably slave labor. I try, but I don't have the economic means to buy made in the US stuff. Like, if you buy stuff in the US, it's more than likely it's not made by slave hands. So that's why I would always want you guys and encourage you guys to do research on the companies you're buying things from, the companies you're investing in, and stuff like that. And make sure you guys are putting your money where your mouth and your values are. I've been doing that for this past year. I've been subscribing to things. I've been following things. I've been investing in things that follow my values and push what I think it's right and stuff like that. And this will change a lot of people's minds, hopefully. Please share this. This needs a light, an example, you know, something like this, like world-changing event that could stop some of this. All right, let me give you one example. The British Empire's practice of trafficking Asian workers in the 1830s to alleviate labor shortages in the Caribbean colonies. The result of newly emancipated slaves' withdrawal from the plantation complex. This is from The Atlantic. America cannot bear to bring back indentured servitude. It's a history lesson worth remembering. The exploitation of immigrant workers only encouraged more and worse abuse. This is kind of like what Ron DeSantis is doing. I'm sorry for getting political here, but I'm just saying Ron DeSantis, a governor in Florida, sorry. Ron DeSantis, he's banning all labor force that are immigrants. And this is kind of true. When you hire immigrants, obviously they will tell their family members, they will tell friends, and they will also move to Florida, you know, work as an immigrant. But the thing is, it inspires more, and it's not bad that we hire immigrants. That's not the thing. It's not something that's morally bad. The morally bad part comes in when it breeds poverty. Once it breeds poverty, it breeds violence. It breeds, no, take that back, not violence. It breeds crime, because there's crime that's not violent. It breeds crime because they're trying to obtain value and obtain things that they can't afford and pay for themselves. Because they're immigrants. You know, people sadly pay immigrants way below minimum wage sometimes. It's sad to know. I mean, there's immigrants that I know personally that make like $5 an hour or like $10 an hour. I know someone very, very close that used to work for $2 an hour in the 90s. It's really bad. It sucks. Actually, my older brother, he was an immigrant. He couldn't get a regular job because they were too scared at the time because we had a Sheriff Joe Pyle, and a lot of the companies were too afraid of hiring my brother, so he had to work two jobs, and both of them he was a chef, or not a chef, but he would work for a chef. He'll clean tables, he'll do like waiter stuff, bring people's food out and wash dishes and stuff like that, and they'll pay him like $4 or $5 an hour. And that was in 2017, 2018. Like, this is not that long ago, and they were paying him way below minimum wage. He would get paid like 60% of what minimum wage was. And they took the risk because they were paying him cash under the table. It sucks, man. My brother was working, I think we're like 16-hour shifts. Like, he was working 16 hours just to make somewhere around $80 a day or $70 a day. It sucked. All right, now this is from the Atlantic. In 1856, the U.S. Commissioner to China, Peter Parker. There's no way. Damn, that's cool. Maybe that's where the name came from for Spider-Man. Declared that the traffic was so replete with illegalities, more immoralities, and revolting and inhuman atrocities that its cruelty at times exceeded the horrors of the Middle Passage. Working conditions at labor sites in the Americas were no by the. Did they mistype there? I don't know what's going on. It literally says working conditions. I'll have it on screen for you guys to read it. That's not me, all right? That's not me. That's the article. By the eve of civil war, media exposés and the government reports have publicized these abuses sufficiently to convince most Americans that the traffic was only another form of slave trade, which had been banned decades before. In 1862, Congress banned the carriage of coolies on American vessels. The act was one of many reforms intended to fundamentally restructure American society around a liberal notion of free labor. So this is exactly what I'm saying. So it looks like media pointed a light at them and they stopped what they were doing. So that's what I want to do here. I want to point a light at this, and that's what this whole series is about. I'm talking about things that need to change. I talk about things that need a light on. I'm not trying to give a political view. I'm not trying to give a moral stance. I'm not trying to give a what's right and what's wrong. I'm giving you the numbers. I'm giving you the facts, and hope you guys make your own decisions. And don't be afraid to look up your own things. All right, like if you see something crazy online, make sure you fact check it yourself. You don't have to post to fact check, but you can just for yourself. Free thinkers and critical thinkers are the greatest thing you could do for any country, for no matter who you are, no matter what religion you're from, no matter what culture you represent. Nothing. It's those are the people who are most needed. Critical thinkers and free thinkers. And you can help these people. These slaves don't have to exist. They only exist because of us. They only exist because of our dollar. They only exist because of our spending. They only exist because of our accessories. Our way of life is the reason why they live in these conditions. I'm not saying that we have to change the way we're living. We have to change everything like right now, overnight, because, obviously things will crash. You would have to do this over time. By over time, I mean, look for countries who are not using slave labor for your companies. Push the made in the U.S. stuff. If more things were made in the U.S., it's more cleaner here. We have more restrictions, obviously, and we also have unions. A lot of things are a lot better here. I'm hoping a lot more companies are coming out and are making more U.S. things, kind of like TMS. They're coming here, and they're gonna start making their chips here in Arizona. It's gonna be freaking awesome. I said freaking, all right? Don't even. I know my editor's looking at this like, hey, no. But yeah, I did this whole episode without cussing, without swearing. and I'm very emotional, obviously, and I didn't cuss. This is the first time I have done this. And please, guys, like and subscribe this video, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to have a bigger impact and have a bigger following. Follow my new Twitter. I've been posting there nonstop and retweeting things on there. I'm learning it, obviously, because it's the first time I ever had Twitter. So I'm learning it. Bear with me. All right. These tweets sometimes, that's what most of the time I'm just doing retweets because I don't know how to tweet. Don't be burning me on here. The next time you guys see me, I'm going to be talking about a different subject. I'll be looking for a new one for you guys. And I hope you guys enjoy. This is your host, Jose, hitting escape. Peace.